Alrighty then, there's one last but very important basic you need to know about Battlefield before we can jump into the actual advanced stuff. So today we'll be talking about the basics of the input. So what's important in terms of your mouse and keyboard input. As usual, for whatever happens, it is not important what hardware you have. For every Baddleskool lesson counts, you'll work with what you have. You won't need to buy any additional or different hardware. Let's start with the mouse settings. Okay, I did say in the beginning that you should not buy anything different in order to participate in Baddleskool. However, I may give you the reason to do exactly that in just a few seconds. When you choose a mouse, you need to make sure that it fits in your hand. You should not only buy it because of the aesthetics. You will use the mouse for literally everything you do on the computer, especially for gaming. So when you have chosen the wrong mouse, you may run into a hurting hand after a couple of hours. You know that you have chosen a fitting mouse when you do not need to hold it. You need to be able to move the mouse anywhere with ease, without putting any pressure on it with your fingers. If you can do that, it's perfect and you do not need to worry about any different mouse. When it comes to the mouse sensitivity, I cannot help you a lot further. By saying that, I mean I cannot tell you which is the perfect mouse setting. You need to find out by yourself. In order to do so, go ahead and jump into the test range. Zoom in and aim at the head of one of those metal peeps standing around in the wild. Then zoom out and move the mouse a few centimeters to the left or right. Then try to aim at the head again while getting back into zoom, as you can see on the screen right now. You should start with one of those metal soldiers very close to you. Repeat this a few times. Take the time you need. If you manage to quickly get the crosshair back on the head, choose another metal soldier a little further away and do the same. Proceed with it for some time. You should repeat this procedure on a daily basis for a week just to get familiar with your mouse settings. Even if I cannot tell you which is the best mouse setting, as this is down to your personal preference, I would start with something which is not totally slow but also not totally fast. So somewhere in the middle. If you over aim a little when trying to aim at the enemy's head again and again and again, you may want to decrease the mouse sensitivity a tiny little bit, and after doing that, repeat the procedure. After a session on the test range, jump into a game and always try to aim at your enemy on the first attempt. Don't get upset if you don't manage to do so yet. You'll get there eventually. Before we talk about the keyboard, I have an expert hint for you. Go into your mouse settings in-game and turn raw input on. This will disable any mouse acceleration while you're in-game. As we got that out of the way, let's talk a bit about the keyboard. Again, it does not matter what keyboard you have, a normal one which is actually meant for an office job or one which is meant for gaming, mechanical or membrane, it just doesn't matter what you have. When it comes to key settings, you should choose a setting with which you do not need to move your fingers off, or I should rather say, very far off the WASD keys, so that you always have a finger on at least 3 of the before mentioned keys. As example, I have reload set to F, getting into a vehicle to E, grenade to G, interactions to R, jump to space and sprint to shift. So most of the times I'm lifting up my finger off the D key when one of the actions is required, while the rest of my fingers stay put. But you need to find a setting fitting your style and what you prefer. I've chosen the setting I'm playing with for a few years now, because it gives me the option to keep moving while interacting. I put an example on screen for you. The more often you're using an interaction, like reloading, the closer it should be to one of your fingers. Vice versa for the interactions which you won't need that often, like the grenade button. You can move them a little further away. And that's it, guys. We're done with the basics and we will now approach the advanced stuff. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel to get informed when the next Battleskool lessons are online. And until we see us again, stay safe and stay out of trouble.